Hello, I'm now going to record the Kuf Yud Beis Part 2. We're on top of Kuf Yud Beis Amud Beis, second line. And what we concluded in Part 1 was Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rabbi Yehuda, that if you have a sandal that the loop which is attached to this outer part of the sole is torn, that the sandal, if it was Tameh, now is Tar, because it's unusable. On Shabbos it's Muktzah, because people will not switch the right sandal to make it into a left sandal. Did Rabbi Yochanan really hold like this sheet of Rabbi Yehuda? From Rabbi Yochanan says, Halacha Kistam Mishnah. The Halacha is, whenever you find an anonymous Mishnah, that's the Halacha. Utanan, there's a Mishnah in Kalim. Sandal shenifsika achas mi oznav. If a sandal, if one of its loops tears, v'tikna, and you fix it, so tamei midras. If a Zav had walked in that sandal and it had been Tamei Midras, and now one of the loops tore and then you fixed it, so it retains its Tumas Midras because it never lost its Tumas Midras. Nifsika Shniya, the Tiknaf, after you fix the first one, now the second one tears and you repair it, Tor Milatame Midras, so it's not Mitame Midras anymore. That's an interesting idea, which the Gemara will explain later, but I'll give you a heads up that if you had to replace both the right and the left loops, so then it's already like a new shoe. So the midras that it was is not the midras that it is now. Therefore, it's tor from tumas midras. The only thing is, and here comes a delicate idea, when it lost its tumas midras, but it's still now a keli. It's when the first one was repaired and the second one tore, so it's still a good shoe. It just needs to be repaired. When you're going to put the second loop on, it will lose its tumas midras that it started with. But now, now that the second one tears off, and you repair it, so it loses its tumas midras, but it's not like it's as if it touches itself upon the repair. It loses its tumas midras, but it becomes tamei midras. It becomes like a maga midras, like something which touched the midras. The midras that it was, that identity is lost. But in the middle of the way, when it lost its identity as the old midras, it became a new shoe, and the new shoe is one that touched the old midras when it lost it. But l'chayra, the Gemara asks, "My lav loishna pnimis v'loishna chitzayna." It sounds like there's no difference whether the inner loop tore or the outer loop tore. And even if the outer loop tore, if only one loop tore in the beginning and then you repaired it, it's still tamei midras. So you see, why would it retain its tumah if the outer loop tore? Only because you can switch feet. So more like no, panim is dafka. When we said that if one loop tears, it's still considered a valid shoe, it's only if the inner one tore. But if the outer one tore, then it would have been tar. If so, adatoni, why did the Mishnah have to teach me that only after nifsika shniya v'tikna tor mena midras avotami maga midras, that only after the second loop tears and you repair it, it loses its original identity as a midras and becomes merely a maga midras, niflik b'dida. You could have differentiated even if it only loses one loop. If it loses the inside one, it's still tamei, and if it loses the outside one, then it's already tor. When the inner one tore, then it's still reparable because you don't mind if the fix is on the inside. But the outer one is tor. So Amar of Yitzchak ben Yosef, Rav Yitzchak ben Yosef explains, Tei Mishnah Seinu, Mishnah is speaking Leilam again. Rabbi Yochanan is going to hold like Rabbi Yehuda, that if the outer one tears, it's tor, and if the outer one tears, it's muktzah, and if the outer one tears, you can't use it for chalitza. But it's a sandal that has two inside loops and two outside loops. So if it has two outside loops, if one of them tears, it's still usable. Not easy, but it's still usable. Therefore, it's still tamei. But if both outside loops tear, then it's already tahor. Why? Because according to Rabbi Yochanan, who paskins like Rabbi Yehuda, if the outside one tears, if the outside ones tear, so it's no longer usable. We don't want to break the words of Rabbi Yochanan, who paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. Kiyosa Rav and Omar, Rav Chanan bar Abba Omar Rav, he said Alocha ka Rabbi Yehuda, that Alocha is like Rabbi Yehuda, Rav paskin like Rabbi Yehuda, that if the outside loop tears, the shoe is, if it was tamei, now it's tar, because it's considered irreparable, and on Shabbos it's muktzah, and you can't use it for chalitza. Rabbi Yochanan said, Ein halacha ka Rabbi Yehuda, the halacha is not like Rabbi Yehuda. What do you mean? Rabbi Yochanan said the halacha is not like Rabbi Yehuda. We just got finished with a long story. Me Rabbi Yochanan hachi, Rabbi Yochanan explained the brayso libed Rabbi Yehuda. Meaning he explained that according to Rabbi Yehuda, if an outside loop is torn, it loses its tumah. If an outside loop is torn, the sandal is muktzah. If the outside loop is torn, you can't use it for chalitza. Shmami nos, Rabbi Yochanan explained that alibud Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda sviralei, ma'amiroininu alibud Rabbi Yochanan. It's machloikis amirom alibud Rabbi Yochanan. And just going back, that's why Rabbi Yosef told Abaye, leave the shoe there in the chotzer. Why? Because it's muktzah. He tanned the outside loop tore, so it still can be switched to the other foot. So he told him, I'm machmir, Rabbi Yochanan alibud Rabbi Yehuda, the people don't switch. And therefore, if the outside loop is torn, it's muktzah. Tanan Osam, there's a Mishnah in Kalim, Kol Kli Balabatim Shiurin Keremainin. If a balabas has a Keli and it has a hole that a remoin could fall out, so it loses its tumah. Why? Because it's such a large hole that the person would throw it in the garbage. So Boy Chizki had a Shaila, Nikev Kamaitzi Zayis Ustamai, V'chazer V'nikev Kamaitzi Zayis Ustamai, Ache Shlima L'maitzi Remoin. What happens if it only had a hole that an olive would fall out, and you patched it, and another hole that an olive would fall out, and again you patched it, until all the patches together equal the size of a hole that a remoin would fall out? What's the din? Ma'u. Amar le Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Shanisa Lanu. So Rabbi Yochanan told Chizkiah, we learned it. Sandal shenifseka achas mi'ozna v'tikna. A sandal that one of its loops tore and you fixed it, then it's still tamei midras, right? Nifseka shni, when the second one tears v'tikna, now it's tor mena midras, so now it's not the old midras anymore because it has two new loops. Avul tamei maga midras, but even though it's not the old midras, but when it became from the old midras, which it no longer is, to a new shoe, so then it's like the old one touched the new one, and it's a rishain. So we asked, why is it when the first one tore, it's still tamei because the second loop is still there? Shnia nami, so when the second one tears, the first one is already repaired. So why when the first one was torn and only one was torn, was it still tamei? When the second one tore and only that second one is torn, we consider it a tahar. And you explain, panim chadash is bolikan. It's because once you change both loops, it's considered like you have a whole new sandal. There's a chanam here also, if you have so many patches for so many holes that were kamoitzi zaysim, that it's the size of a remoin, is panim chadash is bolikan. It's a new keli. Kori alei Chizkiah said to Rabbi Yochanan, leis dain bar inish. This is not a man, this is an angel to have thought of that. That once you have so many repairs, it becomes a totally new keli and it loses its tumah. Ikad Yamri, some said, Kuvandain bar inish. This is a real man. This is an Adam Gadol. Amr Bzeira Marava bar Zimayna, Imrishayna b'nei Melachim, if the Chacham in previous generations were like angels, Anu b'nei Anoshim, we're like men. Imrishayna, if the previous generations b'nei Anoshim were like men, Anu kachamayrim, we're like donkeys. But v'loi kachamayr Reb Chanina ben Daisa, Reb Pinchas ben Yor. Not about the donkey of Reb Pinchas ben Yor and Chanina ben Daisa that did dvorim nifloim. Reb Pinchas ben Yor's donkey wouldn't eat from sa'irim until you meisered it. And Reb Chanina ben Daisa's, the robbers stole his donkey and it didn't want to eat and drink until he gave it back. Elikashar chamayr, we're like regular donkeys. Noidas yain v'shemen, if you have flasks of wine and oil, so you're allowed to tie a fabric on top of it. Pshita, isn't it obvious? Because it's meant to open up to drink from or to take the fluid out. Loitzricha, the chiddush is this tarti uni. It has two ears that you tie, and you can actually open one and still get oil and wine out of it. I would think that one of them you're going to be mevatel, therefore it's a kesher shel kayama. Kamash malan, either it's hard to get water or oil or wine out if you just open one of them. So if you're going to open both, or even if you are going to open one, we don't know which one. So anyone that you tie is not really intended to be a kesher shel kayam. Kedera shel basar, if you have a pot of meat with a cloth over it, so you're allowed to tie it like a tchila pshita. It's obvious because you're going to want to untie it in order to get the food out. Letzricha the isla shel achab. It has a spigot, so you can take food out or fluid. You can take soup out through the spigot. Is ma'odetema, since you can get fluid out from the spout or spigot, batuli mevadla, so you're not going to take the cloth off the top. So therefore, the knot there is a kesher shel kayama. Kamash malan, that it's hard to get the stuff out using the spout, and usually you'll take the cloth off and spill it out. So the knot that tied the cloth to the top is not a kesher shel kayama. Rav Lezer ben Yaakov Aimer Kaishrin Rav Lezmi Yaakov says if you have an animal in a room and there's a door, so you're allowed to tie a rope across the doorway so that it shouldn't run past it. Pshita, it's obvious, because sometimes you undo it so it could go out, and sometimes you tie it so it shouldn't go out. Let's say there's two ropes, one higher, one lower. Maybe the upper one you're mevatel, and you'll just untie the bottom one and let the animal slip out from under. So the bottom one would be a kesher shel kayama. Kamash malon, the people don't do that, and people either untie both of them, or since you don't, people will untie both of them. Finished. Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rav Yudam, Amar Shmuel, halacha k'Rav Lezem and Yaakov. The halacha is like Rav Lezem and Yaakov, that you're allowed to tie a rope in front of a doorway so the animal doesn't get out, because you're going to undo the rope so that the animal can get out later. Amar le Abai said halacha, if you paskin it like Rav Lezem and Yaakov, nechal de pli, it sounds like it's a machlekes. Amar le my nafkalach mina. What's the difference if the yemachlekes nish machlekes? The halacha is you're allowed to do it. Amar le, so he told him, Gemara zmur tatei. What am I just learning and as a song? I want to know details, and I want to know if there's a machlekes. I want to know it's a machlekes, and the machlekes you want to pass like Rav Lezem Yaakov, but I want to know the details. We said before that regarding the shoes, we said that the strap that was tied to the bottom of the sole, that's permanent. That's a kesher shel kayama. But the knot, which is an issur derabanan, was a knot which the shoes of the Rabbanan wore. So the Rashi says that they would tie their shoes in such a way that they could slip it off on Shabbos. So they can slip it off at night without untying it. So therefore, the knot is made for more than one day, and therefore it's an issur derabanan to tie it or to untie it on Shabbos. The Mordechai says that these Rabbanan used to never sleep. They used to sleep only Friday nights. So during the week, they would never take their shoes off. They would doze over there by the stender, and then they would wake up again. Because therefore, they kept their shoes on a whole week. Not that they slipped it off at night, but they kept it on a whole week. So the Taz says, according to the Mordechai, if the Rabbanan Taka dozed off by their stenders and had their shoes tied on their feet a whole week, then how could they tie their shoes Shabbos morning? If not that you're tying Shabbos morning, you're going to leave it there till Friday night. Or how are they allowed to untie their shoe Friday night if it was a knot that had been there a whole week? So the Nesif Chaim answers that they would tie their shoe in the Shabbos morning with a loop. And with a loop is mutter. And Motzei Shabbos they would tie it with a real knot that would last the whole week. If they tie it with a real knot that lasts the whole week, how are they allowed to untie it on Friday night? You're untying a knot that was there a whole week. The Torah says there's a shitas harash that untying a knot is only if you intend to retie it with a kesher shel kayama. So therefore, when they untied it on Friday night, they're planning tomorrow morning to tie only a loop. And since they plan on tying a loop, it's not untying a knot in order to make a kesher shel kayama, so they're allowed to untie it on Friday night as well. Another pshat is they probably untied their shoes on Friday afternoon to go to the mikveh. As Mela, when they untied it Friday afternoon to go to the mikveh, so then they put on it already a loop, and it was not a kesher shel kayama. Okay. Have a good evening again. If the olam is ready to go back to the Beit Midrashim, please let me know. Once you let me know, it'll take me maybe a day to be mesader in my other schedules, and we can start again. Kol tiv, and have a good evening.